Hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, what I have here is my Ruko 500 disassembled that Lockmania sent to me. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to, this is a blank key. It's a Yale. I'm going to try to make some Y1. I'm going to try to make a key for it, since I didn't have a key when it came with it, and I couldn't pick it open. So once I basically shimmed it from the back to get it open. So I want a key for it, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me pause a second, let me get my holder. So I realized that I don't have a holder for this because the Rukos are an odd size. So there are various ways you can make a holder. What I'm trying to do is get something that'll allow me to set the key into it and have it sitting down. And I've got this cap off of a spray can here, and I was gonna gouge it all out, but I looked at it and this thing fits right in there. All I'm gonna have to do is cut out a little spot right here for this bouncing. You see is this bouncy little springy tripod thing I've got. It's connected to the table. So I'm just gonna cut that out with a knife, being careful to only cut the plastic and not myself. So we'll do that, and then I'll pause this. Alright, so there we go. When dealing with plastic, especially like when cutting it, this is really brittle plastic down here, but the lip is reinforced. So if you're cutting this way, it's going to be a lot of resistance, and then it's going to go through. So if you're cutting into plastic or anything like that, just always be aware of what would happen if the thing went further than you expect it to. I didn't get cut. A better way to do this usually is to use a soldering iron, because soldering will just like perfectly cut through plastic. But this works fine. See, I can insert the key, I can remove it. It doesn't look the best, but you know what? We're not going for looks. We're going for function. So now this thing's going to be able to hold the pins upright for me. This prevents a lot of problems when you're working on a cylinder, because if you just have it laying on the side and you said, oh, I'll just be careful, either you or a pet or something else will come along and bump it, and there goes all your work. So now that we've got this little cheapy holder made, like I said, it doesn't have to be fancy as long as it's functional. And talk about inexpensive, this is a throwaway item. So there we go. We've made our first invention. Alright, now looking at these key pins here, it looks like a relatively flat fitting. And the way I've got the long ones are what we would consider like the no touch ones. And a lot of these are like sometimes it's hard for me to remember when I'm doing this. I'm going to also try to balance the drivers. You see how this is a short driver up here, and this is a long key pin. I want to try to do that as much as possible. Put the shortest driver with the longest key pin, because you don't want it to be. What the hell is that? I guess that's the standard. It's really tapered. Anyway, that's what you do. You basically kind of figure out what you want your bitting to be, and you can use the cylinder here. I'm going to try to go through the center and mark these spots. We'll get to that. I'm going to try to use a Sharpie, a really extra fine point Sharpie, and just go in there with the key in there and try to mark the cuts. If I had a depth and space set for all of these, you know, or even a Yale, it would have worked, but I don't. So we work with what we've got. So, this is going to be pin 1, and these go down here to pin 5. Pin 5 was the standard driver in the setup, I think, the way I pulled it out. So, we'll leave that driver and that key pin together. And then as far as bitting goes, this is not too bad. This is like, let me see how we would drop them in there. I'll put number 3 in. Very tapered. So see how high number 3 sticks up. They're not going to need much cuts, which means the pins are not going to need to be lifted up, and the key is going to be easier to make because you don't. This is the longest pin, and you can see how far it sticks up. Man, I do not like that bouncy. That is annoying. There's nothing else I can do right now about it. To give you an overhead view, this is what I've got to do. So there you go. I'm going to pause this and do my, I'm going to mark my pins and we'll come right back. I mean, pin locations. Well, the marking pin idea didn't work. It's got ink in it. And I was worried that this wouldn't reach down far enough, but it does. Ow! I just stuck myself with my improvised other device I'm going to use, which is a different type of pin, the needle. So what you want to make sure is that the key is pushed all the way forward and the stop, is right there. You can hold it with your thumb, and then you're just going to go in here and you're going to try to scratch. Ow! Oh, I stuck my finger again. So wake you up, man. It's early in the morning. I just had my coffee, but man, it's sticking yourself. Didn't draw blood, but what I'm trying to do is just basically get the spacing for my key cuts right. So I'm just going through here and trying to scratch enough so that I can see where. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having to look through the camera to do this. Yes. This works much better than the marker method too, because the marker you handle it a lot of times and it comes off. I'll scratch and there won't. There we go. I'm just trying to mark, since the needle is so sharp, I'm just trying to mark in more than one location, so I'll know roughly where the center is on this cut here. Now, let me pull this key out and see if you can see. I'll try to get it to zoom. Uh-oh. This is a bouncy thing. Let's see if we can see them. Whoops. Sorry, I'm trying not to bounce this. I'm trying to get it. Can you see the marks? They're really faint. But there's one. And there's one. There's one right here. This is the center. There's another center. Here's another one. There's another one. Anyways, you just have to really look close at it, and I can always stick it back in and scratch it some more. Alright, let me unzoom this guy. Yeah. So yeah, whenever you're improvising, just be prepared to have to even improvise some more. Because I knew I was going to have to wing it on the spacing. So let me scratch this some more and I'll get back with you. Alright, so I discovered a better way. I was just going straight through and trying to scrape it, and it was really hard to see the marks. So then I looked at the key and determined that if I got in on this side, like if I went with the needle on this side and went on the side of this key and scraped up, it would leave better marks. Because the other one's kind of like you're looking for an impression type, a key impressioning type of mark. But on this one, let's see if you can see them. It comes out much better that way. Although I can see there. There we go. That picks them up. See that? That's what I'm looking for. Because you don't want to try to do pen 1 over here and get your center off, because if your centering is off, the more you deepen out, you're just basically catching the edge of a pen. What I mean by that is, well, you know, if you've got your, these are tapered, and if you've got your pen lined up and you've got it centered, then every time you deepen that cut, it's going to affect the key properly. But if you've got your center over here, and this is the actual center, and your cut is over here, every time you deepen up, well, just the edge of your slope, just the edge of the cut is going to be affecting it, just one edge rather than both edges. I don't know how much that makes, but difference that makes, but as far as like precision, you want to be as precise as you can on the location of your initial cuts. And then now that I've verified that this is going to be the way to do it, I'm going to make my first cut on the deepest one. Oh, and here's another little pro tip. Bubble wrap. As you can see, this is a wooden surface here, and I was messing around with the longest key pin, pin 3, and it fell out of my hand and went pink, 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 and then I heard it go down on the ground. So put lots of bubble wrap on the ground. I've got this in my lap, just basically a notebook with the bubble. The tiny bubble wrap works best, and put it bubble side up. That helps trap the pins when they fall. Believe me, from years of digging around on the ground, your hands and knees, if you take that little precaution, you always think, I'm not going to drop anything, I'm going to be all right. Yeah, you'll wind up dropping them. It's kind of funky, it makes noise and gets in the way. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to show what I was going to do besides that. So I've marked my key already. I'm getting ready to make my first cut. I'm taking the longest pin. I'm going to put it in pin 3. It's my longest key pin. And that one's going to need the deepest cut. And I'm looking at the depth right here, how far up it's sticking from the shear line. And I want to make sure that I'm not cutting any more than that in that key on pin 3. So it's better to start off slow. I mean, if you don't take off enough, you can file it down. But if you go too far, then I don't have any longer pins than that one. So this blank would be basically ruined if the longest key pin won't fit in your deepest cut. I mean, if it goes too deep, it's not going to work, and none of the other ones will work. So all kinds of risk involved, and I've only got one blank, I think, so I've got to do this with one shot. I figured I might as well go. Oops, sorry for that earthquake. Another one. Might as well show what I was trying to do. I don't know if I'll be able to do it through the camera, but I'm going to line my leashy cutter up with the slot right here, and I'm just going to take a little chunk out of him. Not much. They got a little guiding line here that you can kind of use. Sorry for that bumping around. But I just want to make sure I'm lined up on my notch. And there we go. Now I'm going to put a key back in. Not bad. It looks like I need to file the sides. This is not going to give you your true depth. What I mean by that is if the chunk that you've taken out is too narrow, you may think you need to go deeper. Well, it's fitting perfect. It fits right in there. So let's see. See what we get here. Now still, it looks like I haven't done anything to it. I'm holding my finger on the key and I'm moving back, and I can feel it has gone down a little bit. So the safer way, the leaf sheet cutters are good for taking a lot of material off, but the safer way to do, you can do the whole thing with just a file. It just takes longer. I'm going to get kind of I'm looking for a round file here. A round or an oblong. No. You can get yourself a needle file set, and if you look at them, they have various areas have the serrations. See, now this guy's really good for keys too, because he's oblong. I mean, he's, you know, like oblong. So what I'm going to do is just I'm just kind of like beveling it back and forth. And this is cutting on all sides. It's cutting down here and the bottom. And it's just doing a little bit of that. This video won't go up until after I've gotten paid. Basically, I'm doing this while I have no internet there with the thing on my lap. Alright, let me check this again, see if I've done anything, made any progress. It's very slow making this, but to me it's worth it. I mean, it may be tedious and take some time, but it's worth it. Now here's where you take chances. I'm saying this is going to take too long hand filing, so I'm going to make another cut. I don't want to go too deep. Whoops. I'm just lining this thing up just right. Trying to anyway. I don't, like I said, I don't want to go too deep. Oh, let me turn it around where it won't bend it. All right, that may have been too much. The proof is in the pudding. Oops, I got the pin upside down. Well, pointy side pointing down. All right, it's gone down. It's gone down quite a bit. I'm gonna have to go further, but I can start messing with the file more. Put him back there. Put this guy back in his little holder. And continue to work on my first cut. Okay, I'm pretty close now on this pin. It's just sticking up just a little bit. What I've been doing is filing on it. When I looked in here, you can also see if your cut is going too wide, and it looks like the top part of this is going too wide, but I should be able to shape it. Here's another way you can check. I was trying to see if this thing is, it feels like it's a little bit high, but I wasn't exactly sure. I'm taking it slow, like I said, so you can leave the key in there. If it doesn't go, then you know it's still too high. And this is another file that I'm using. It's just got serrations on this end and this end. So what that is good for, let me take this key pin out. What that's good for is when you're filing on this, when you're going like this on it, you're not taking in material off the side. You're only going straight down. This one has no serrations except for on the very end here. And that's good for like when you want to just take off any burrs that you're making or any rough edges. You just put it in there and go like that. It's not cutting any deeper over here. So, and remember, you're dealing with brass, so you have to go slow like this. And as flat as you can get it, you know, like parallel. I've been sitting it on the edge of the table and using this, you know, to go back and forth with it. And you work a little while. Don't get over ambitious, you know, and try to rush it. That's when you're going to take off too much material. And like I said, if this key gets to where that pin is too deep, I can't just switch it up and put a deeper key pin in here. This is the deepest one. And the reason why I'm doing this is going to show me the deepest cut that I can do on this. Just visually, I look at it now and I'll know all the rest of them cannot go this deep. But this sucker's going all the way down to this first boarding here. It's going into it. So it really is a no-touch key if you're working off that ledge.